Alright, welcome to a brand new channel playlist, Sports Know-How. We're going to be talking about all the biggest sports news, and of course, since the Olympics is about to run out, today we're going to be doing some stories about the Olympics. We're going to be covering everything about the Olympics. Well, not everything, but all the big news stories. But first, we're going to cover the Olympics in general. So, I have up here a Britannica article, pro-cons, about hosting the Olympics. It's going to be talking about the Paris Olympics and how there are pros and cons to Paris hosting the Olympics. If people live in France, I don't know if any people in France watch my videos. I think some people in Germany do. So maybe when Berlin hosted the Olympics, maybe people have some comments in Germany about how a host city can have both pros and cons from hosting. But we're going to be looking through these pros and cons and see if there's any ways to fix some of the cons, because I think there are a ton of ways to fix some of the cons. I think the biggest example for the Olympics is Rio de Janeiro. I think we're going to be seeing that con coming up soon. We're going to go through all the pros and cons together, but I think the biggest con is that they basically try to beautify the city so that when all the cameras are on the city, they don't see any homeless people or any poor people. So basically, if you're homeless and you live near the Olympic Stadium, they basically kick you out into the dirt. I think there was news stories talking about how the Rio Olympics, there was a bunch of shanty towns or poor living condition areas. Poor areas of the city were basically bulldozed and destroyed everyone's livelihood, and people who were living there just had to move out completely or were forced to move out, and they had all their homes and their parks and their businesses bulldozed because they wanted to make the city look beautiful. And that's basically a charge of crimes against humanity right there. Just destroying people's livelihoods just so you can host a 2-week event in a city and then it'll be it. Because after those 2 weeks, those people's lives are completely ruined forever, and they've got to build it back up. But after 2 weeks, the city's done, and everyone's leaving, and the Olympics are over. And now you got to deal with all this consequence of what you did. So we're going to be looking at the pros and cons today. We're going to see what Britannica has to offer, but let's just begin. Pro 1, the Olympics increase valuable tourism and can boost local economies. 2016 had a global audience of 5 billion. As we just talked about, the Rio de Janeiro Olympics, we had the controversy with the homeless people and the poor neighborhoods being completely bulldozed. As you can see, it does increase tourism, but it's only for 2 weeks because you only get, as you can see here, 6.6 million foreign tourists and $6.2 billion from tourism. That's a lot of money, but if you really do think about it, you're only getting that for 2 weeks out of the entire year. So if you average out $6.2 billion and you're getting that for 2 weeks. So if we do a quick calculation, I'm going to just do 6.2 divided by 14, and then we divide that, and that's 14. That's 14 days. You're getting around $442 million each day. So that's pretty good, right? But if you average that out, that's 14 days in a 365 span. So if we do 365 minus 14, we're looking at 351. So if we divide that by 351, you're looking at about $1.2 million per day. And that's just 1 year. So 1 year you earn like $1.2 million and extra in that 1 year, and then after that it's back to nothing. So you do get a boost of around $1.2 million for the year you host, but that's only for the year. After that, your tourism just goes down. That's just going to be your record year because nothing else is going to top that at that point. So that pro, yes, it's 2 weeks of valuable tourism that can boost local economies, but after that, not much else is going to happen. Con number 1, Olympics are a financial drain on host cities. So that $1.2 million that you raised, you had, if we look at Tokyo in their 2013 bid, 7.3 billion. 0.3, while COVID-19 took away 23 billion. So the entire COVID-19 pandemic outspends the Olympics. So on top of the Olympics, you're basically almost doubling the cost that Tokyo lost during the pandemic to the Olympics. So 7.3 times plus 15.8, that's around 23 billion. Hosting the Olympics cost Tokyo, the city of Tokyo, almost the same amount as an entire global shutdown did for the city. I mean, that's insane. And that's only 2013. Imagine what it is now. I think it says down here, 2014 to just the next year, 39 to 58 billion. And that's over the $12 billion budget. So that's 70 billion in 2014. And we come back to here, we can see in 2016, Brazil only earned 6.2 billion in revenue. That's 2016. We've got studies in 2014 and 2013 showing how the Olympics can be $70 billion in budget, and you're only getting 6.2 in revenue. That's not boosting your local economy. That's pretty much a negative $64 billion. So yeah, increasing valuable tourism, sure, but you're overall losing money for hosting the Olympics. So yeah, that's going to be a strike. The financial drain is way more than how much money you get from hosting the Olympics. So already, Olympics is up con. There's only the con one. This con of financial drain outspends the pro one. Pro 2, Olympics increase a host's global trade and stature. That's very true. We saw how Rio and China was able... the Beijing 2008 games made China's stature in the world economy. Everyone thought China was evil, and some people still do. Most Western nations still do. But in 2008, it was able to liberalize the world's view of China. Same thing with Mexico, how they hosted the 1968 Summer Olympic Games, and they were able to go from being seen as a second world country to a first world nation. I mean, that's pretty cool. But con 2, Olympics forced host cities to create expensive infrastructure and buildings that fall into disuse. That's Rio right there. After Rio, the $700 million Athletes Village turned into luxury apartments that are basically vacant. So they just made an entire useless part of the city. Stadiums, they're all useless now. You think that Rio de Janeiro, one of the soccer capitals of the world, plays basketball on a regular basis, has an entire skate park for skateboarders? I mean, no. You think they swim that much in Brazil? I mean, they do have a swim team, but I'm not saying that they're going to use the entire Olympic swimming pool just to train their swim team. They already have swimming ventures for that. They had a swim team before then. It's just a useless pool at that point. A waste of water, and like we said before, they bulldozed an entire neighborhoods of poor neighborhoods to build these luxury athletes village, and now it's vacant. So it's basically useless land. So just a bunch of useless land. Olympics create a sense of national pride. Yes, it does. But, I mean, is it really that good? As we've seen before, the national pride can be a bad thing. Western countries like to say that they're dominating the Olympics, and, I mean, that's kind of sad. We're going to talk about a story in a little bit about how the West is basically dominating the Olympics, and they basically rigged the Olympics in favor of them. But, like, the Olympics do create a sense of national unity. I think it's kind of cool that it happens during election years, because when it's a divisive time for the country, it does make a sense of national pride for all of us to unite. But it's only 2 weeks, and then the elections begin in the final 2 months, and the national pride sense is over. So national pride, sure, but it only lasts for 2 weeks, and it's back to being divisive. So not that big of a pro. Con 3, Olympics displaced and burdened residents of the host city. Rio de Janeiro. Homes were set to be demolished. That basically forced the country into a month of riots, where the police had to use percussion grenades and rubber bullets to silence people who were having their homes bulldozed, just for 2 weeks of Olympic royalty. And now all of that land that used to house thousands is just a bunch of luxury apartments that are vacant. So yeah, Con 3, basically all of these pros, they're good and all, but they only last for 2 weeks. National pride only lasts for 2 weeks. The Con 3, displacement and burden, lasts forever after. Con 2, force host cities to build expensive infrastructure that is never used, that lasts. That expensive infrastructure is only for 2 weeks. Then it falls into disuse. The Olympics, this is the only one that is actually a pro. As we'll see in Pro 1, increase the valuable tourism, sure. Boost local economies, only for 2 weeks, because a financial drain on the cities, you're getting a net negative if you host. So it's a financial drain, and you burden your residents. The only positive that I can see from hosting the Olympics is that your host country's global trade and stature is boosted. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'll link to the article down so you can read it yourself. I think I did a pretty good summary of 3 pros, 3 cons. I think there's only 1 pro. Everything else is cons. All the cons outweigh the pros. So yeah, if your city is about to host an Olympics, I would say that really all you're going to get from that is 2 weeks worth of tourism and people coming to say hello to you and world attention, and then an entire year's worth of, decades worth of burden, sorrow, and sadness. So yeah, Olympics is kind of a bad thing, but I guess it's worth it for some people. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo, and have a blessed day.